step right this way, come on over and join us beneath the Indians Welcome sign. Now, folks come to Alcatraz from all over the world. They largely come into this place's history as a prison. They set foot on this dock, they look up, and they see a sign that says, Indians Welcome, United Indian Property, Indian Land. And many folks wonder what's going on with the sign. Well, this place was a prison. That prison operated until 1963, at which point the prison shut down. 6 years later, 1969, a group of Native American activists, young college students, came out to this island and they took it over. They occupied it. They stayed here for 19 months as a form of nonviolent political protest. They were protesting for their sovereignty and self-determination as tribal nations and against government policies negatively impacting Native American peoples. It's a really interesting part of Alcatraz history, and it's a bit of history that you all have the opportunity to learn more about today. And we'll talk about where you can learn more about the history in just a moment here in our orientation. So again, folks in the back there, come on over and join us. Make your way right this way. This is your one and only mandatory stop for the morning. In just another minute or so here, that boat will be fully unloaded. Once it is fully unloaded, we're going to launch into that orientation. We're going to talk about where you get the audio tour. We're going to talk about guided programs that are coming up today. We're going to talk about areas that are only open for a limited time, where you can get map and guides, how to catch a ferry back to San Francisco. We're going to get into all of the information that you could possibly need to know to make the most out of your day out here today. Now, by a show of hands, how many folks out there thought they'd be listening to a national park ranger this morning? So unbeknownst to many of us, there's not all of them, but many, is the fact that Alcatraz is part of the National Park Service. We're overseen by the same folks who oversee places like Yellowstone, like Yosemite. The National Park Service not only oversees the nation's 60-odd national parks, but an additional 360-odd other sites. These are things like national monuments, national battlefields, national seashores, and in our case, a national recreation area. Golden Gate National Recreation Area is an 80,000-acre national park site that not only includes Alcatraz Island, but a bunch of other public lands as well. So if you want to explore more of this massive national park here in the San Francisco area, you can grab a map right in our ranger station. Again, folks in the back, step right this way, come on over and join us, make your way right over here. Just about the last of the folks coming off that boat there, and as soon as we're unloaded on that boat, we're going to get into that orientation. Again, talk about where to get your audio tour, talk about where to find the restrooms, how to catch a ferry back to San Francisco, what areas are only open for a limited time, where to find those areas, so on and so forth. We'll get into all that and more in just a brief moment here. Now, one thing that many folks are curious about standing here on the dock is often the structure behind me. Folks often wonder what purposes the building served over the years. Lower levels of the building, the brick, actually dates back to the Civil War, 1850s, 1860s. Those square windows you can see up there in the brick were actually cannon ports historically. Upper levels were built basically in 1905. Initially, this was an open barracks that housed military soldiers guarding military prisoners. This was a military disciplinary barracks. Later, it was converted into apartment housing for correctional officers and their families when this was federal penitentiary. So had you been here during the penitentiary years, you may have seen young kids running along these balconies from apartment to apartment visiting their friends. And it looks like that's the last of the folks coming down the gangway now, so without any further ado, then we can get started here. So to begin with, good morning, everyone. Okay, let's try that one more time. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. That's more like it. My name is Matt Conley. I'm a National Park Ranger out here in Alcatraz Island. It's my pleasure on behalf of the National Park Service to say, welcome to your national park. I'm going to do my best to make this orientation short and sweet, take no more of your time than necessary. We're going to zip through rules and regulations, basic info, all good stuff to know, but we'll finish up with the most important stuff, which is my top 3 tips for your day out here today. Sound good? Okay, first things first, restrooms can be found right behind you here at the dock. You can find another set at the very top of the hill across from the lighthouse. That's it. 2 sets on this entire island. Both restrooms have drinking fountains and water bottle refilling stations. If you're looking to purchase bottled water, you can do so up in the Cell House Museum store or down here in the dock bookstore. It should be opening up relatively shortly. The climb from the dock up to the cell house is 136 feet uphill. That is equivalent to climbing a 10-story building. If for any reason you believe you are unable to make that climb, we do have a tram available. It's right down the corner there to your left. Now that tram has incredibly limited seating. It cannot take all of you, so with this in mind, if you can make the climb on your own, leave those seats free for those who need assistance. Just beyond the tram, over to your left, you'll find the one and only smoking area. Need to smoke or vape? Please do so over there. Eating and drinking is permitted here in Alcatraz, but only here on the flat dock surface. No food and drink elsewhere on the island. One exception, bottled water. The reason we ask you to eat and drink down here is because this whole island is a bird sanctuary. Please respect the wildlife you encounter. Please do not feed, harass, or chase the birds. In fact, as a National Park Service site, everything around you is protected by federal law. This means that you cannot take anything home with you, aside from what you purchased in our bookstores. So, no picking up, collecting, taking back on that boat, leaves, flowers, feathers, pebbles, rocks, sticks, pieces of the building, birds, plants, or park rangers. All of that needs to be left behind for the folks on the next boat to appreciate. Speaking of next boat, boats today come every 30 minutes. You can depart on any boat you'd like. Last boat is 4:25. The important thing is you need to be here on time for the boat departures. Essentially, as long as you're here by the 25 and the 55, you're good. If you're here at the 26 and the 56, you are 29 minutes early for the next boat. If you'd like a map and guide, you can get them in our bookstores when this one opens up, like I said, or you can find them up top in the cell house. You can also snap a photo of the map here behind me. As you walk throughout the island today, please do watch your step. It can be quite slippery after it rains. Please stay out of closed areas. They are closed for your safety. Okay, all that out of the way, onto the fun stuff. Top 3 tips. Tip number 1, there are 5 locations on the island today that I want to bring to your attention that are only open for a limited time. The first, right over here to your left, is our Agave Trail. This trail opens up in November, closes up in January. It's only open for the winter months, normally closed for bird nesting season. You can take that trail around the south end of the island. Great views of San Francisco, especially on a clear day like today, closest as you can get to the water's edge. It brings you around to a set of stairs that then climbs up to the parade ground. You can take that up the hill, connect to the rest of the island up there, or you can take it back down through the parade ground, returning here to the dock. I just encourage folks to take it today because it's only open for a limited time each year. Second location, up this roadway to your right. Metal staircase on the left, leading into the brick casemate behind me here. That is our old theater space. No film is currently playing in there, but there's some really cool exhibits to check out. Third location, again up the roadway to your right, past the metal staircase through the archway, all the way out to the north tip of the island. Out there, opening up at 11 o'clock, is our new Industries building. This building houses wonderful exhibits on the prison labor that took place there when this is an active penitentiary, but more importantly, inside this building you'll find our Red Power exhibit. This is an exhibit devoted to the 19 months that Native Americans took over this island. That building will be open up from 11 until about 3 o'clock. You want to be there before 2:30 so you have some time to explore it, okay? Fourth location, making your way up the hill towards the cell house, you'll see a big eucalyptus tree. At the base of that eucalyptus tree is the entrance to our rose gardens. Today, those rose gardens are actually going to be open to the public only for a limited time. They're usually not open, but we'll have them open today from 2 o'clock until 3 o'clock. So if you're still on the island at that point, definitely feel free to check out those rose gardens. And lastly, that 5th location is the big building found at the very top of the hill. That is the main prison building, which houses the Alcatraz cell house. To get to the cell house, no matter where you are on this island, look for the street signs. Those street signs all point directions. There's always going to be a red street sign. That one always points towards the cell house. Now, the cell house brings me to tip number 2. Where do you get your audio tour? You paid for it in the cost of your ticket. Where do you get it? Well, that audio tour is a cell house audio tour taking place, perhaps not surprisingly, in the cell house. Also, perhaps not surprisingly, you have option number 1 is to get it in the cell house. You head up to the cell house, they give you a device, you're going to hold it to your ear for 35 minutes. When you're done, you turn the device back in. Option 2, if you don't want to use our device, you can use your own. You can actually download it as an app onto your cell phone. Use the Wi-Fi here at the dock, use the QR code, download it as an app. Keep in mind, if you download it down here, it is not a dock tour. So don't hit play until you get to the cell house and staff have instructed you to do so. And lastly, tip number 3. If you want to dive deeper into the history of this place, learn more beyond what's on that 35-minute audio tour, we have a couple opportunities for you to do so today. First off, open all day is a brand new exhibit that we have up in that cell house. It's called The Big Lockup, Mass Incarceration in the United States. It essentially explores the history of incarceration here in the United States, pretty much from the founding of this country all the way up through present day, including history here in Alcatraz. It is an excellent exhibit that you'll find at the conclusion of your audio tour. Additionally, for those who are going to still be around this afternoon, we'll be having a ranger-guided talk at 1:40 up at the main prison entrance. You can see all that information and times and things up here on our program board. If folks have any further questions for me, once again, my name is Ranger Matt. Otherwise, thank you all for listening. Have a great day and enjoy your national park.